Welcome to Indiana Basketball Weekly on the Greenland Crew Sports Network. I'm your co-host for Indiana Basketball Weekly, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I want to welcome in my co-host. First up, a member of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, and he came off the bench to put up a stellar performance to help lead the Hoosiers to the 1981 National Championship. Help me welcome to the show, Steve Risley.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
And, of course, our next co-host didn't win a national championship, but he's not hideous to look at, unlike Steve is. Help me welcome to the show, Collin Hartman. How you doing, Collin?
I'm doing well.
I always try to turn this into
attacks.
a way to rip
Personal
on Steve.
attacks.
Yeah,
Personal
I like
attacks.
personal attacks. I'm a bully at heart. All right, the Indiana Hoosiers beat the Louisville Cardinals 68-67 to run the record to 8-2. It's three straight wins by 2 points, 1 point, and 2 points. Steve, what was your takeaway from the game?
Great win. I mean, probably within the last 2 years, one of the bigger wins Indiana's had for the program. I mean, it's a national TV win. It's against a quality basketball program. I mean, it's a signature win in terms of for the tournament to put that under their belt. Louisville's going to continue to get better with Chris Mack. He's a great college coach, and they're going to build on that program. So that win becomes probably more relevant in March than it is right now. But I'm going to use 2 words, and I'm going to stick with them, and it's going to be the death of Indiana. It's going to be this post defense. They just cannot. They cannot get into position. They cannot get into help side commitments. They don't stop the ball, and they just don't play good inside defense. They're relying too heavily on their perimeter defense to carry them, which our perimeter defense is so good because of the quickness of our guards that we're compensating right now. But, one and done situation, I do not want to rely on that.
All right, Colin, what was your takeaway from today's game?
I think it was just a gritty win. Like we've been saying, we take them how we get them, and I think that these guys they played well enough to win the game, and I think that there was plenty of times when they were down 8 or 9 that could have let Louisville extend that lead, but the guys locked back in and made some big plays defensively and made some big shots, and just really locked into the game and what needed to be done. I think Romeo really stepped up big again today. I think we had great production out of Jawan. But Romeo started off, and he was, in my opinion, Romeo was pretty consistent throughout the game. He gets quiet at times in production, but he's very, very clutch, and the dude's points when we need him. Our free throw percentage still kills me. Only had 10 turnovers, which was good. But we only had 9 assists. And they got a lot of offensive rebounds, from what I remember Louisville did, which is another thing that we have to shore up because we can't give second chance points just like that.
Yeah.
Well, in my day, that falls under the guys of post defense.
Yeah, the blocking out was not good.
Blocking out is a big part of post defense.
Because there was multiple times there where it looks like IU's getting a rebound, and all of a sudden a dude flies through, grabs the ball because he wasn't blocked out.
Right, yeah. And that's not always just the post, though. I mean, the guard rebounding is huge. That's one thing that if your team gets good at, then you don't have to have the outlets. You can skip that whole process, get a guard to get it, and just push. And it kind of accelerates your fast break offense because you don't have to get it to a guard. You have a guy who can handle the ball, grab it, and
I have to chuckle. Coming from you, a guy who never stepped inside the paint in his 5 years at IU, talking about
defense. Funny. You're hilarious. I started the 5 my sophomore year.
Yeah,
I started the 5. Check the film.
The greatest 6'8", 8-inch perimeter shooter in the history of IU basketball.
I'm not even 6'8".
Well, that's what the program has you listed at.
The program had me listed at 6'6", so no, it didn't.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. Ever since Steve's turned 60, he's just become a bitter old man.
He is.
Cantankerous.
Oh, good.
I know. Cantankerous. Can you spell cantankerous? All right. The thing that you can't because you always lose it. But the thing that I take away from this game is this. I think Louisville brings it when they play. I think IU is much more talented than Louisville. They were much more talented than Penn State and Northwestern. The game shouldn't have been that close. But in the end, Steve, it does say a lot for a team when you can start to continually win close games against teams that are solid competition.
Well, I hate to admit it, I really do, but Collin said the perfect word, gritty. I mean, Collin's exactly right. This is a team that's winning basketball games that 2 years ago would lose these games. Consistently, we would lose these games. We would find a way to give it away in the last 2 minutes of the game, and this team is not doing that anymore. There was a really cheesy call on Romeo on the three-point. The guy jumped into him, and that was a crap call. It shouldn't have been called. The guy just jumped into him with no attempt to try and get a shot off. He was flailing before he got it 1 of 3 inches off the ground. And somebody's got to define to me what an intentional foul is.
Yeah.
Because to me, an intentional foul is when they come in, we have the ball with 2.2 seconds, and they throw it into Romeo. And the guy's got his arms around Romeo before the ball's even thrown in. He's making no attempt to go for the ball. He's not making any play on basketball. His whole purpose in that moment is to intentionally foul Romeo Langford to not get the ball. So define intentional foul. Well, it's the stupidest thing in basketball. It's like, well, if we don't knock him down, we don't knock 3 teeth out, we don't give him 2 stitches, it's not an intentional foul.
Well, I think this. I think when you're inbound.
That was an intentional foul.
I think this.
The guy had nothing.
I thought this is the way it used to be. When you were inbounding the ball, if no time ran off the clock, it was actually an intentional foul.
Yeah, I don't know. Collin, you're the most recent one to put on a uniform and play. What the hell
I'm talking 20 years ago. I don't know what they're doing, Collin, and this is obviously all your fault because you're a lot younger than us.
Yeah, I think it's all on you. I'm going to tell you something. When I fouled Magic Johnson, it was intentional, and he knew it was intentional.
Yeah.
There was no bones about it. He was laying on the ground trying to pick himself up. Okay, I put my hand up before they even blew the whistle. Yep, I intentionally fouled him. That's a call. And whatever. Refereeing for television. That's what it's all about.
Okay, Collin, now you can answer the question.
Now, wait, you guys are in Indianapolis watching it. Did you get the game cut off and put on to a different channel with about 10 seconds to go?
No.
So out here in California, they cut it off and go to TMZ Live, and they say, if you want to finish the game with about 5 seconds to go, go to channel 13. And I had to flip over to channel 13 to watch the end of the game.
You're the one that moved to California. I don't want to hear you.
I'm the one that moved to California. That's all on me.
Now, Collin, I don't even remember the question I asked you, do you?
I think it was about the intentional foul, but...
Oh, yeah, it was. It's Steve asking. All right.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think that you should have to wait for the ball to go in for it to not be an intentional foul. If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like you can't
foul. The ball never went in play.
Right. So I think
that's not an intentional foul. What is an intentional foul?
Right. I agree.
My favorite is when Steve asks you a question, and then while you try to answer it, Steve answers it for you.
Because I'm smarter than Collin. Okay? Just leave it at that. Because he's not smart enough to answer the questions that I ask you.
We can't. Because
why did you ask me the question? Because you didn't know the information.
Because I want to see how smart you are.
Okay. That's what very unintelligent people usually say to smart people, Collin.
You know who's been hitting big shots lately is Rob Finney.
Yeah, that three was huge.
He's turned into a player.
And he's hit a few big shots in the last few games down the stretch. So he's really maturing, and that's good. It's very, very good to see.
Let me ask you now, what do you make of Smith? I mean, I tell you what, the guy is hot and cold. He's either very hot, very good, or he is a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, I think he'll get better as the season goes on, because I think that, I know that Coach Miller's not gonna. I mean, his minutes will deplete, and that will happen. If it doesn't change, and I think that he's forcing it to change in practice. Just the nonchalant kind of turnovers that aren't really necessarily even trying to make a play. Those are the turnovers that are unacceptable. I think he played a little bit better today. I think he had a couple bad shots, forcing it, but it wasn't like he was turning it over like crazy. So I think I look forward to him getting better this year, just because he is super athletic, super big, And if he can just get the casualness out of his game, then, I mean, it'll be a very big part of what we do. Because do you guys see that dunk that he had today?
Yeah.
That should have been an and one. His elbow was almost in the rim. I mean,
yeah, that reminded me of Steve Risley in 1979 dunking over Magic Johnson.
I never dunked over Magic Johnson. I
don't think Steve ever dunked.
Johnson to dunk on him.
Could you dunk,
And
Steve?
I wasn't good enough either. I wasn't talented enough to dunk on Magic Johnson. So let's just call it what it is.
He could tear up a Nerf goal, though. The guy that really... What?
Mike, let me ask you a question. See if you can give an intelligent answer. I don't know.
Well, you know what?
Ron Davis.
What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to sit here and figure out.
Today?
I'm going to sit here and figure out if Steve can ask an intelligent question. Go ahead, Steve.
Ron Davis. I thought he played better today. I thought he's starting to make more solid contributions in the paint. I think he's starting to be a little bit of a force, but I see improvement. What do you think, Mike?
I think Deron Davis could be the key to this team going deep somewhere because I don't think Fitzner's going to be it. I mean, he can help, but he's more of a role player. I think Deron Davis is a guy that could come in and possibly help with the rebounding, and he gives you a big man underneath, and he's a big man that has some skill.
See, Mike, that's an intelligent answer.
Yeah, but you know what? The question wasn't that smart. Go ahead.
Collin, offensively, here, see if you got the same observation here. In the early part of the game, we tried to get into an up-tempo game with Louisville, and that's when they were pretty well 8-10, going tough on us, and then holding that lead. When we slow down and play methodical offense, I think we're pretty good. We punch the ball inside well. We use our perimeter speed and quickness, and we play very good offense when we get more methodical. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think the same thing, or you see something different?
I think it's a little both. I think you have to, because we're capable of playing both styles. I think that we're more turnover prone when we're trying to run and gun with teams like that. But I mean, our set offense isn't always. We don't always run plays, so we run concepts. It's kind of like a flex or a continuous motion, but we don't run a flex. It's just continuous motion offense and different kind of options that you can do throughout the motion that gives it the difficult. It makes it difficult to scout. But I agree that when we do kind of play more free in the half court rather than trying to play free full court run and gun, just because we turn it over, at least we have recently, too much if we're trying to do that run and gun game, especially with teams that are super athletic like Louisville is.
Well, I think this
is that a lack of maturity. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike.
I think this. What I see is it is partially a lack of maturity, and this team, when they are running and playing helter skelter, they then don't play like a team. They play like individuals. When you slow them down and put them in a half-court concept, they show that they can play as a team. I think that's the difference between the two styles for them as of right now.
Yeah. Damn, two great observations by Goodpaster today. He's on a roll, Collin.
It's like every other show. I carry it. Me and Collin carry it. Steve's the old man that's angry at the world.
You got to play angry, man. If you don't play angry,
hey, also, Kentucky lost to Seton Hall. I just wanted to bring that up because I hate Kentucky.
Yeah, I watched that game too. That was enjoyable.
Yeah.
I've been bantering back with Ken Sterling on that one on his radio feed.
Who's Ken Sterling?
Who's Ken Sterling? Good question. He doesn't listen. Oh well, I don't care.
Well, I laughed, so he obviously knows I'm joking.
Yeah, we're all joking, Kent. We love you. You're wonderful for commercial radio. Perfect fit for that genre. I'm not going to give one of these win one for the Gipper speeches and make this comment that defense wins championships, because I think the weakness of Indiana basketball right now is defense. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't play defense, you won't win championships. It's not the only thing. You got to have a good offense. I think Indiana's offense is very solid when they're methodical, when they slow down and run their offensive sets and run the motion and the sets that Collin talks about. But if this team does not get better, and I'm getting a little disappointed with the whole aura of Archie Miller and coming in as such a great defensive-minded, physicality-type coach. And I go back and I think that these guys got to learn coaching at Dayton, coaching at Oklahoma, coaching at Marquette, all the other places that these coaches have come into Indiana and play is not like coaching at Indiana. Indiana has a different mindset. It's a different league of play. It's a different level of play. And if Indiana does not up its game in defense and get more consistent at playing good, solid defense, they're going to miss out on opportunities to win some championships. Colin, what are your comments?
Yeah, I mean, defense is a necessity. We can score the ball. We've already proven that, but there are going to be nights where that ball doesn't go in. Romeo doesn't hit those big shots. Rob doesn't hit those big shots. Juwan has an off game, whatever. But our defense has to be able to create our offense. When I say that, you have to have confidence in your defense, be able to get stops, as well as forcing turnovers, getting one and dones, not giving them second chance points, getting the ball out and running, and having the opportunity to get easy transition buckets. And that all comes from the defensive side of things, obviously. And so we can generate so much more scoring and generate so much, more tempo to the game if we just step our defense up, force more turnovers, get more deflections, give teams only one opportunity to score, one shot every time down. And I think if we add that, we'll be a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, Mike, is there a reason why Indiana doesn't press? I mean, how much quickness do we have at our guard play? Why are we not throwing kind of a diamond press? So Colin, answer it too. You played under Miller. Is he have an ill will toward the press? I'm thinking with that speed we've got and the depth we've got, you still have Devontae coming in off the bench still. Is there a reason why we're not putting a little more full court pressure on him earlier in the game?
If you press and the back end of your defense is not that good, can't that kill you?
It can, but that's a good point.
To answer your other question, I don't think IU is that program yet. I think Archie Miller has come here trying to get IU to what it used to be. It's not like he's coming in and trying. He's not. He's not coming in and trying to sustain what Indiana had been doing the last 10 years. He's coming in and trying to up the game to what Indiana was before. Because when you look at this, that's a really hard thing to do. It may be harder to bring a program that was that back than it is to take a program like Dayton and get them to the Elite Eight. Because you have huge expectations here. You get the weight of the world on his shoulders, and now he's got to come in and produce. And, when he went to Dayton, you get 3 or 4 years to produce at Dayton. At Indiana, it's got to get done now. And I think with this team, I think that until today, I was worried about this. After what I saw today, I'm not as worried because what I saw was a team that fought back. And low post defense, it may always be their problem. But I guarantee you this, we can go over the last 30 years and find teams that weren't great low post defensive teams that still went really deep and won a national championship.
Yeah, it speaks to Colin's comment about resiliency. And the grittiness and resiliency of this basketball team is something unlike what we've seen from Indiana basketball in many years.
It's been a long time, and that's what I want to see from Indiana basketball. That's what Indiana basketball used to be about. Bobby Knight didn't bring in 5 McDonald's All-Americans. Hell, he won with guys like Steve Risley. And when you look at that, no, that's not really a rip either. It's it's a compliment.
I know what you're saying. Yes, you're exactly right. Yeah, I agree. It's not about me. It's about the quality. It's the style of player I was.
No, it's how hard you played. And it's how hard Jimmy Thomas played when he comes in the Final Four. And nobody's ever heard of Jimmy Thomas. And Jimmy Thomas defensively shuts down LSU's defensive players, or LSU's backcourt, North Carolina's backcourt. It's guys like Kitchell and Whitman. They fit different spots. And I think Archie Miller is figuring this out right now. I think Deron Davis is going to be an answer inside. And I think at some point, Archie will win me over once Devontae Green's starting.
Yeah, Colin, does this team play hard? In your mind, does this team play hard? Or are they soft?
They play hard. But I think that part of it is the statistics don't say that we play hard, in my opinion. We don't get enough offensive rebounds. We give up too many offensive rebounds. We don't force enough turnovers. The other team kind of just, if they get a turnover, it's kind of self-inflicted. We never really force turnovers, climb up anybody, and really get after anybody. And I mean, those are telltale signs of a hard-playing team, taking charges, forcing turnovers, getting offensive rebounds, all effort-related things. You know, those are things that I did. I'm sure those things Steve did, and just playing hard and controlling the things that you can control. You can't control if the ref calls a foul. You can't control if the ball goes in or not, but you can get on the floor. You can, I mean, there's times that Romeo gets on the floor, Jawan gets on the floor, guys dive on the floor and stuff, but it doesn't happen regularly enough for my, standards for this team. I think that's an area that I do think they can improve on, definitely. Just playing harder, you can always give more, in my opinion.
Yeah, because to me, when you look at them, they do just enough to win against teams that aren't very good. And then I do
blow
think
teams out.
Yeah, and then I think, when they played at a level of competition, except for the Duke game, but I think that competition was well beyond their reach at that point in the season.
Yeah.
And I'm somewhat okay with them playing the level of competition as long as they're winning. And what I like is the resiliency of this basketball team. I mean, sure, we'd all like it to be 20-point blowouts, but let's face it, we wouldn't be watching the end of the game if it was a 20-point blowout. We enjoy, we as spectators enjoy good competition. But I'm just not very concerned about that because we're finding ways to win these games more than I've seen this team do in quite a period of time. I keep going back to that, and I'm being from the Department of Redundancy Department. I get that, but, I just think this team is very good, very deft at staying calm and collective, and maybe that's Archie Miller. And my next question is it just me because of where my heritage in Indiana that I'd like to see Archie a little more animated a little bit, or is that just me?
I don't think they show him on TV. I don't think they show him on TV as much as they did Coach Knight, and I think that's the only difference because almost every time you see him go into a timeout, he's pissed off at something.
Oh, he's always cussing at somebody. Trust me. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, Colin. I'm sure a lot of
Hey, all I can tell you today is almost every time they cut to him going to a commercial, he was screaming at somebody in a huddle. So I think this too, Steve. I think every coach has a different personality, and you can't. I mean, you never know what somebody's saying under their breath to Collin Hartman in a timeout. Maybe he's not there screaming it, but it can still be being said. So I think this, when you look at the teams he had at Dayton, and this team, you can talk about taking charge of stuff like that, but to me, the thing that shows me toughness is teams that win 1- and 2-point games. I think that is the biggest stat that shows you toughness.
I agree. I mean,
So looking at the stats real quickly, the stat sheet came up. We only have 10 turnovers. Positive, Colin. That's a good thing.
Yeah, obviously. Heck yeah. Especially against a team like Louisville. Long, athletic, wants to get up and down. That's great, I think.
They had 9, so it really wasn't a big turnover-laden game for either side. We get out rebounded 36-33. Again, it goes back to my observation of just poor inside defense, of not being up. It's not even really poor defense because it's just the two things I noticed was we don't help out. There was a point in time where Justice Smith got beat on the baseline. It was like, I think, a 14-minute mark into the game. He got beat badly on the baseline. And Jawan was standing just outside the free throw circle and guarding his man. And rather than coming over and taking the lane away and stopping the ball, he stayed with his man. Well, the guy got an easy bunny layup. And Jawan almost commits a foul. I mean, and to me, that's where you've got to shift immediately and stop the ball before you do anything. I mean, if you don't make the effort to stop the ball, then you're just giving up 2 free points and possibly a foul because you're going to react late and just totally not being in position, which creates poor post defense. And then when you get out of position, you're not in position, you're not there to rebound and block out and stop second chance points. And I don't know if on the stat sheet it talks about second chance points here or not. Let me see. points in the paint. What did they only had 22 points in the paint. We had 32. But then I think we're good. We're good offensively in the paint, big time. Second chance points, they had 14. We had 0 second chance points. How about that?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, 0 second chance. So we're not playing physical basketball inside the paint on either end of the court, really. And it's just Pfister gets 2 minutes. Collin, what's wrong with Pfister? What happened here? Doghouse?
I don't know. I don't know if it's an injury or.
He gets 2 minutes in this game.
Well, they were switching everything with him. They were switching all the ball screens and everything like that, and he really didn't take it to the post. I don't know what he did, or if something went wrong in practice or in the huddle or what. Yeah,
25 minutes to 2 minutes is doghouse somehow. I know that song and dance all too well.
There's something there, but I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's practice or whatever. But they were on those 2 minutes that he was in. Teams are starting to scout that he picks and pops every time, and I mean they switch it and deny. So it's completely neutralized.
And this love-hate relationship with Justin Smith, and I don't want to say it's a hate. It's just a trust or no trust is probably a better word. 9 rebounds, led the team in rebounding. 4 for 8 field goals, shooting 50%. It's a great game for him. And 0 turnovers.
Yeah.
0 turnovers. Did not turn the ball over.
He can be good if he doesn't get in his own way. Be a really good player for him.
Great point, Colin. He gets in his own way. When that kid just knuckles down and plays basketball, I understand why Coach Miller's starting and playing him a lot, but when he gets in his own way, it's like a disaster waiting to happen. Maybe that's why Pfister only got 2 minutes, because Justin didn't get in his own way tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it could be another reason why.
Well, could be another reason why. We had DeRon play more also. So.
Right.
And
which I think we needed just because they had big guys down low. And I think that is great for us that DeRon can be, a low post defender that's capable of guarding one-on-one with the bigger guys. At least not to give them post depth that they're not going to get just pushed around.
I think Mike said it best. Third, another brilliant comment from Mike 3 today. Mike, I think he's doing well. He's the key to the success of this basketball team in the near future. No, he really is. Because we have expectations now. Romeo's living up to his expectations. Juwan's living up to his. Fantasy's living up to his. The rest of the guys are becoming great support players. I'd like to see Devontae get more time. But DeRon is the player that is just we're all uncertain of, that we've got to elevate him to be consistent like the rest of the guys are playing consistent ball. If we do that, we take the game. We take our game to the next level. Comments?
Yeah, we'll get a lot out of him. He'll get better as the season goes on. And I think he'll start happening very quick. So too. Well, because he'll start getting more playing time and get back in the flow of things. And, I think he'll be very valuable for us if he can stay out of foul trouble and just, be a low post presence offensively and defensively.
All right. Anything else on Louisville? Great win. National TV win. China just continues to make this program more and more relevant. We'll probably be ranked again. Not that really matters right now, but it's a great signature win. Louisville is a program much like Indiana, kind of in a little disarray, but resurging. I think Chris Mack is going to bring Louisville back much faster than they could have ever hoped to come back.
Oh, yeah.
He's a bona fide great basketball coach. Mike, you know him better than anybody, because you're a big Xavier fan, I know, and you hated to see him leave that program, but maybe the best move that Louisville's made in the last 4 or 5 years.
It's the best move they've made since they hired Denny Crum.
There you go. And I don't know that I can disagree with that.
Because I don't like Rick Pitino, because I hate the Kentucky Wildcats. Have I brought that up lately? All right.
Yeah, we all. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So
no game till next Saturday.
It's fun to see Calipari sweat like he's losing. It's so fun.
I just like to watch him look, because I'll tell you the greatest story I ever had about the Kentucky Wildcats is I coached the actual arena football team in Owensboro, Kentucky, which is like the cesspool of Kentucky, maybe, which is saying a lot, but. We used to
Come on, the Walter brothers. The Walter brothers.
I don't want to hear it. The fact that you're talking about NASCAR will tell you what Owensboro is. But we go down there, And we had a deal after our practice on Thursday nights or Friday nights, we would get to eat free, the team would, at a Wild Wings, Buffalo Wild Wings, whatever, at BW3. And we go down there, and this was like 2013 or something, and they're playing somebody in like the quarterfinals or semifinals of the SEC tournament. And these people, you'd have thought their kids were playing in the game. They're all cheering, slapping each other five, and Kentucky lost. And I watched about 50 grown men and grown women absolutely cry. I mean, these people are hugging each other. It was the saddest thing I've ever seen, Steve. And the thing is
how you look at it.
The thing is this. The quarterback for my team at the time was Jared Lorenzen, who'd played for the Giants, but he was a University of Kentucky football player. And we're sitting there, and, you know, I think he was drinking a beer or two because he's a highly trained athlete that weighed 400 pounds by then. But he looks at me and he says, Coach, I promise you, not every Kentucky fan's like this. But I noticed in the corner of his eye was a tear. So there you go.
Oh, geez.
Colin.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to use your genius and expertise now and ask you a question.
Oh, you think
we
I
don't
have
play
genius
again until
expertise?
next Saturday. We don't play again until next Saturday against Butler. We have a week off. What do we do? What is the team? You've lived through it with Archie Miller. What happens now next week? What does the team go to? What's the process for this week and to get ready for play? Brother, got some time to relax, get healthy, prepare. Talk about the week for everybody that you just lived it last year, so you know exactly what's going to happen this week.
Yeah. So you probably get a few days of, or just a couple of days of somewhat relaxed. Let guys' bodies get back to normal. Obviously healthy. You don't want to go hard, obviously, right after this. You give them a couple of days of, maybe an off day, maybe a day where it's kind of light. It's majority film, get up some shots, get your body moving again, and then a couple of days of full go, full practice, scout, fully deeply ingrained into what we do, that we watch the film on the prior day, take notes, figure out what we have to fix, and then fully address it in those couple of days of going full at it, addressing us, and then also the scouting aspect of it, and getting in concepts of the other teams and getting familiar with scouting and everything of that nature. And then the day before, obviously, the game, you slow it down a little bit and, again, get more shots, fine-tune everything on the scouting and on our own work, and just be smart about everything. I think Coach Miller and staff is really good at that, especially in being conscious of injuries and stuff of that nature, just because Coach Miller's played the game at this level. He knows that guys' bodies aren't robots. He knows that you can't just get in the cold tank and the next day you're going to be 100%. That's not how it works. So they have a good mindset around that, and I think that's how it's going to go this next week for the guys. Give them an off day probably here soon, maybe tomorrow, and then the following day, majority film maybe, get up shots, get some blood flowing again, get moving. And throughout this time, guys will be getting up extra shots and extra work, but it'll be a pretty planned out process.
Yeah, and I believe, looking at the time frame here, this is probably pretty close to finals week at IU too, isn't it? Now, I know in my day, Coach made us actually go to class and take classes, but I imagine in your day, part of this plantation education mentality that North Carolina has explored and employed and dropped into the NCAA ranks. You probably just all don't go to class and have tests taken for you guys.
Yeah, right.
But is this also finals week pretty much this week too?
Yeah, this is like the last week. There are people that graduate this week, right? And the early graduation period or whatever.
Because they are student athletes. They are, according to the NCAA, they are student athletes. This is why we don't pay them.
Allegedly. Allegedly, we're student athletes. Some people get paid. If you're, we're not going to say any names or other universities or anything, but we'll leave it at that.
You're not talking about John Wayne's favorite namesake, are you?
I'm just going to leave it alone. I'll leave it all alone. Leave it all alone. But yeah, I mean, guys have to go to class. We have class checkers and all that. As funny as it sounds, but it's reality. So,
sadly, it is a comic joke. Sadly, at this day and age, I think 99% of the programs do it the right way, and 1 or 2% give a bad name to everybody else, unfortunately. But
right.
I know. I believe this would be finals week too, which it's great to have a week break, and that may be designed. That may have been by design.
Yeah.
Mike, are you familiar with finals week? Mike, were you ever in college long enough to go through finals week?
Yes, I was. I took finals once, Steve. Once I took finals. Hey, let me ask you a question, Steve. Did you ever have a friend when you were in college?
No.
I didn't think so. All right.
I was 4 years in a row the most disliked player on the team. That's okay. I had no problem living with that. I had a girlfriend.
And you know what? The only people that voted on that were his immediate family.
Well, they voted too, yeah. They didn't come down. My parents, my girlfriend got all my game tickets. My parents would never come to my games. They were embarrassed.
Yeah, by the way you acted.
And the way I played, it's either kill or be killed, one or the other, and I wasn't going to get killed.
All right, but the Hoosiers have a big game next Saturday against the Butler Bulldogs, who are 7-2. Steve, what do you think about Butler?
Butler's a completely different challenge, in my opinion. And I know Collin's played against them, so I'll defer to him here in a second. But it's a completely different challenge than Louisville. Louisville is a very athletic running gun team. Butler's a very methodical team. I think we're at strength when we use methodicalness in our offense, but they're going to give methodical defense against us too, and they're going to test our patience more than our athleticism. And it'll be interesting to see, because it's probably the first time we played a team that I would call as educated as Butler basketball generally is.
Right.
They play smart basketball. Like I said, they're very methodical. They don't make a lot of mistakes, and their whole mission is to wear you down. Collin, take it over, and you take it over from here, because you played them more. I never got to play Butler, so go ahead and talk about it.
Traditionally, Butler, and you kind of touched on it. The biggest thing about playing Butler is going to their intelligence and smart basketball players is you are going to have to beat Butler. Butler is not going to beat themselves in any way, shape, or form. You are going to have to beat them. They're, like you said, they're methodical. They're going to run their offense. They're going to make you guard for long periods of time and wear you down. They're not super crazy athletic across the board, but they make the right plays. It's kind of like Wisconsin traditionally, maybe not that slow, but they're that methodical with it. They'll run their offense and wear you down and make you play. So this is the kind of team that I would like to get into a run and gun game with, get up and down, get in the transition game, just because I believe we are more athletic than them. And if we can get into that run and gun game, that means we're forcing turnovers. We're limiting it to one shot. We're speeding up their offense, breaking up what they want to do, and really just getting into our athleticism and really using that to our advantage, just because we definitely should against certain teams. So against teams like Louisville and Duke, we should not do that just because that's their style of game. I think we have the luxury of being able to play both. So I think that this would be a team that if we could not turn the ball over in the transition, we make smart plays and make easy buckets and the simple plays, then I would like to get into a running game, just because I believe that we're more athletic, and that means guys are firing on all cylinders, making people turn the ball over, putting them in bad positions, getting them in foul trouble, because that's one thing that they don't do a lot of either, in my opinion, is foul, because of that intelligence. So just putting them in athletic situations where, athleticism does play the role, getting to the cup, getting around guys, getting by guys, getting to the boards, running in transition. That's what I would like to see from us against Butler.
Yeah, and I would think this, Steve. I think this is a good matchup for Indiana, because I think the strength of this Butler team is in the backcourt with Paul Jorgensen and Kamar Baldwin, who both average 17 points a game. And I think the perimeter defense for IU has been really good so far this year. So whether you play methodically with them or whether you run with them, as long as you guard the perimeter, I think Juwan Morgan should take care of the rest with Davis underneath. And then hopefully Justin Smith plays well. I worry about this team playing anybody, Collin, where they're just running around, where they're being athletic, because they do seem to break down and become individuals. And I think against a team like Butler, I think you don't want to be as methodical as they are, but you do want to be able to pound the post against them because I don't think they've got anybody that can guard Juwan Morgan. And I think eventually they have to double him, which opens up the three-point shot. So I don't know if I would want to just flat out run with them. I mean,
no, and I'm saying be smart and forcing turnovers and get out and run. Because there's no reason to not do that. If we're forcing turnovers, like I said, that's disrupting what they're doing. That's A, turning us into points, and B, limiting them to what they can do. They'll get uncomfortable. They're a smart team, so they're not going to get flustered easy. But if we can get into them and force that, that's what I want to see. I want to see the intensity and just the pressure pick up, and that might even show what we've wanted to see in the urgency on the help side in the post or whatever we need to just get guys flying around.
Yeah, and I think in the end, this is the kind of team you want to play at this point in the season because you see exactly where you stand. Because if you do make mistakes, you will lose the game.
Is Butler ranked?
No,
what are they?
They are 7-2. They got upset by Dayton a few weeks ago by 4 or 5 points. They lost another game by 4 or 5 points. I think they're probably one of the two or three best teams in the Big East. I don't think they're as good as what they have been the last few years. They're still a tournament team that's dangerous, but I don't think they're what we've seen the last few years because the last few years they usually had a couple pieces in the post that could do something, where this year probably 50% of the scoring is coming from just two guards.
Right.
Well, I think Collin made a great point with Butler in a sense that he called it out exactly right, is that Butler's not a team that's going to beat themselves. You're going to have, and Collin said, you have to beat Butler because they will not beat themselves. And that presents a new challenge to Indiana because most of the teams we've played have been teams that, they've created opportunities that we've capitalized on toward the ends of basketball games for one reason or another. I mean, with the exception of Arkansas missing the layup at the buzzer, which would have won us that game, and Duke was just outmanned us. But other than that, we've been able to capitalize on other teams' mistakes. I don't think we're in that situation this game, Collin, that we're going to be able to capitalize on. We're going to have to create our own opportunities in this game, which is a whole new challenge for Indiana.
Right. I agree.
All right, Steve, are we just going to go next Saturday after the game, or do you want to do something this week?
I don't know. You guys want to do a mid-show one? Kind of get a guest on and kind of get some perspective of it going into it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, fine.
All right.
Me.
Why don't we, Collin, why don't you and I put our guests together so we can get somebody on? Maybe do a show Wednesday night. Mike, everybody okay with that?
Have to be 9 o'clock because I do have
find a different night. We got all week. We don't have to. We can do a pregame maybe Thursday or something Friday or something like that.
That's fine.
I can do Wednesday.
I've been married 35 years. Trust me, I'm good any night.
Hey, Steve, quiet down. There's people listening. Collin, would you be good?
I didn't mean it that way. I meant
I know.
I'm going on dates.
I know. I was teasing you, Steve. Learn how to take a joke, Steve. So 8:30, 9 o'clock, or let's call it 9 o'clock Wednesday night. That good, Collin?
Yep, that works.
All right. So we will be back Wednesday night at 9 o'clock on the Indiana Basketball Weekly Show. You can send us questions at Grueling Truth, and you really can. And at some point, I'm going to look at the questions before I get to the end of the show because we did have some. But we will have plenty of time to answer all questions on Wednesday night. So make sure you tune in then. You can hear us on iHeartRadio. Here we go.
Did we have questions today?
Huh? I don't know. I didn't
Did
look
we have
yet.
questions?
But there's a couple here, but we're going to save them
What's
for
your general purpose?
My general purpose is to be with Collin as two people that have some intelligence about what they're talking about, while we have you, the offset, who just kind of flies around willy-nilly and bitches about everything. Collin,
okay.
Did I sum that up
Life
about right?
Hilarious. Life is hilarious. You guys are two.
Hey, Collin.
Two personalities. Yeah.
I was sitting here working on my algebra, watching the game, and I projected out. You know how you project things out, and you do that in projection thing, and and I figured by Purdue, Justin Smith will have passed you in scoring. By Iowa, he will have passed me.
That's not good.
That's not good too.
It's good for the team now, but it's not good for us.
So we move a couple notches
Hey,
farther
you know
down
the
the
good
list.
thing, though. You know the good thing. You guys are far enough down the list where you don't have to worry about them putting it up on the TV screen and saying, "Hey, Justin Smith just passed Steve Risley in all-time scoring. He's now
Yeah, he would have already passed Collin Hartman.
You guys are hilarious.
Collin was hurt.
I know.
Get off Collin.
And
If
right
Collin
now,
would have
I am
played more
watching
last
the
year,
end.
he'd have got more
I am
points
watching
than you.
the end. I'm watching the end of the greatest college rivalry in all of sports.
Wabash and DePaul?
Army-Navy.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to wrap the show up if Steve will let me.
All right.
He usually interrupts me when I try to. But remember, you can
Every
hear
time.
us. You can hear us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So for Steve Risley, Collin Hartman, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.